Hey friends, Jessica here from Creators Couture. So I've been working on some new brushes per usual, but I had a couple brushes that I want to go ahead and give to my Patreon members. So they'll be available right now and I'll have the link down below. But we're going to use these brushes and just make some happy little multicolor brush strokes, add a little gold and make a cool digital background. And then to make it a little bit different this time, I'm going to add a little bit of gradient, a little bit of grain, because if you've kind of been watching what's trending on marketplaces like Creative Market, that's like really hot right now. So we'll throw that a little bit of that in there. So yeah, stay tuned and I'll have some links below. And this is using my multicolor Photoshop technique for brushes. So if you're not familiar with it, I'll have a link down below. So let's get started. So actually my inspiration was this look over here by Zaher Murad. And I had actually created a color palette based on that a while back. So I will actually include that for my Patreon members as well, because I actually don't think I ever made that for sale. So you can download the color palette from that too. And I created that color palette just by sampling directly from the clothes. And I love the mix of the green blues with the splash of red. It's really fun. So that is the color palettes we're gonna be using. And I've just made a couple new little brushes and I'll just show them to you right now. So the main brush is like a lacy kind of multicolor brush stroke, and it's got a little bit of lace texture in it and it's fun. And you know, if you're familiar with my brush strokes, you know I love to make a lot of these like these multicolor brush strokes like this, but this one's a little bit different. It's got a little bit of lace in it, so it's kind of fun. So I'm actually just going to grab my pattern stamp tool here, and I'm going to go get one of my color palettes that I was telling you about from my aquatic color theme. And I've grabbed my lacy brush, which I'll have for my Patreon members right now. And this is a kind of a cool brush because it's got the multicolor strokes coming out, and it's really like, I love the blending that happens with just a hint of lace, and I think it's just really pretty. So yeah, I'm just kind of chilling out. Want to do something easy today, something fun, not really anybody can do this. So we're just gonna make some happy little brush strokes, accent them with some gold, and make a cool digital background like this. So it's super easy. And in the end, I actually used it to create a little quote template. And I found this quote on Boss Babe Inc. Instagram. And so I will actually have that available for you guys, for everyone to use. So you can use this quote graphic template for personal or commercial use. So I'll have that link down below too. So let's just kind of scale it back here and see what I did here. And it's really easy, really simple, nothing major going on here. So I started with this blue background here. And then I just, actually I think I made the brush strokes first. So here is my brush stroke layer. So as you can see, all I did was create the brush stroke. So I've got my pattern stamp tool. I've grabbed this color palette right here from my aquatic theme. And I grabbed this lacy brush one. And I just went through and made these cool like brush strokes here. And you can see a little bit of that, the lace kind of come out, but I just love these. I love it, and I love letting Photoshop do all the hard work, you know. So this is so fun, so easy, really chill, really therapeutic. But I'll just leave it like that. So that's the first thing that I did, was create these brush strokes on the background. And you know, all those colors are coming out together, blending, really smudgy. I like it because it's really smudgy. So then what I did was I created some gradients behind it. So what I did was I sampled a few colors. So I'm just gonna make a layer behind this. And I'm gonna grab my color picker, and I think I grabbed like a red. So I'm just gonna grab a red from this, from one of my brush strokes. I'm gonna go over here to my gradient tool, grab the radial gradient, and up here it's on foreground to transparent, so that's cool. So I'm just gonna play around and make a little bit of a gradient there. And then I just did the same thing. What did I do? I grabbed like a purple. So let's while I still have my gradient, you actually don't need to go up to the color picker. You can click Option, or I believe Alt on the PC. I'm on a Mac, so I'll just grab like, it's kind of a purple color that I did there, yeah. So there we go. There's a little purple, and you can make these on separate layers or whatever. So I did something like that, and then I think I grabbed a pink, so I did something like that. So that's cool. So I'm just gonna go ahead, and what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna turn off the brush strokes. This is my main background, okay? So I'm gonna create a new layer above that, and I'm going to do Command Option Shift E as a shortcut, and that's gonna merge all layers and put them on a new layer. And you could also like, you know, just take all those layers and merge them, but I prefer to leave the originals intact and merge them onto a new layer. So now I've got that on a new layer. You can even duplicate that layer so you have a background. And then what I did was, yeah, I added some grain to it. So I'm gonna put that background layer, and then I'm gonna go to my filter and noise. Do I distort? What is it? Oh no, yeah, noise, add noise. Okay, so I'm gonna add some noise here, and you know, it can be like, you can play around with it. I leave it on uniform, and here is like about 12, so that's pretty good. And let's see here, what did I do? Let's scroll it back here. Oh yeah, so I think, oh yeah, I didn't have all of the noise showing. So I've got my noise layer here. And then let's turn back on my brush strokes, which the original one is here. And so I've got my brush strokes and I've got my noise layer below it. And so what I'm gonna do is Option or Alt and then click this masking thing. So I'm turning off that, that mask or that layer. And, oh yeah, and you know what I'm gonna do? Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna leave that, the regular gradient behind it. So then I'm gonna put the grain one, but it's all masked out, so you can't see any of it. And now with my Radiant Gradient tool, I'm gonna take my white, and it's on foreground to transparent, and then I'm just gonna bring out some of those, just put a few bits of like do some radial gradients and just let some of that gradient show. So it's not all in the noise layer. And yeah, so hopefully I didn't get too lost there. A little lost in my head there, okay? So now we've got the background. But okay, so now, you know, I always love to put like a little bit of gold. So I have some little gold layer here, and I just love how that pops. I think it's really cool. It's fun. Just adds texture and everything. And this gold leaf brush that I use, it's kind of a similar one in that it has the, it's got a little bit of that lacy texture, but it's like a lighter brush. So there's not as, it's more sparse. So what I did was I created a new layer, and I added one of my 24 karat gold layer styles to that layer before I start brushing. And then I'm just gonna get the gold leaf brush, and honestly, it doesn't matter what color you put it in. You don't have to be using the multicolor brush. It doesn't matter, because we're essentially covering that layer with a gold, you know, pattern. So then I just went through like this and just add some of those strokes, and I just thought it adds such a texture. I think it's so cool, and I was just feeling it. So I was just feeling the vibe on this one, and doing, you know, I love to like take an old color palette like I had before. I made this before. I don't have to use, I love, you know, using an old color palette and doing something different with it. So now we've got these cool touches of gold, super cool, loves it. But the thing is I wanted to put a, what did I do? I wanted to put a quote on it, and I was like, how can I kind of do this? Because you know, you need some contrast. You can't, this is a crazy background, you know, so you want, you need a space either to cover it up a little bit with something or cut some of this out so that you could see the text. But I wanted to do something a little bit more subtle. So what I did was, yeah, I did something like this. So I duplicated my layer that I had created, the grainy layer. And so I'm just going to duplicate that from behind it, and then I'm going to put it over the top, and I'm going to delete the layer mask. And so now it's just covering everything. Okay, so now we've got that layer that we had created, that grainy layer, grainy gradient, and we're covering over everything. So now what we're going to do is we're going to Option or Alt and click and create a layer mask to hide all of that. Now I'm going to take my gradient tool and have it white, so white to transparent. And so this is going, I'm revealing some of this layer. And so when I reveal some of this layer, it's going to hide some of the other layer, or, you know, it's, as I'm revealing the gradient mask, it's going to reveal that layer and hides a little bit what's behind it. So I just kind of did something like this. It's not perfect, but I just, yeah, did something a little bit like that. So now we've got that gradient, but it's cool because what I like about duplicating that background is that it really all works together, and it looks like some of that is just kind of a lower opacity. So I really like how that turned out, and it's just a more subtle way to hide those brush strokes in the center. And then now I have and I can just make this small if I need to, whatever, but just make little small things, even if you want to just cover some of those, you know, particular areas. And now I've got this blurred out area in the center, and now I can put my quote there, and it's just more subtle. And here is a final version of that. So hopefully that you guys could follow along okay. I'm a little hungry, so I was a little loop-de-loop. But yeah, so that way I just made that background. And then I just popped it over into Canva. I really like Canva I don't like to spend a lot of time for, you know, doing I like doing the illustration part, but, you know, the layouts part, the text and stuff, that I could just grab something quick, and I really like that about Canva. So I'm going to make that Canva template available to everyone for free, and let me know down below in the comments if you have any questions, and I will put the two new brushes available on my Patreon, as well as that color palette. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that, and I'm getting back to the tutorial mode, so hopefully it wasn't too awkward. And let me know down below in the comments if you guys have any questions, or also if you have something you would like to see. And stay tuned, because I am going to dig into some inspiration from the latest couture shows. So there was a lot of fun things going on in the last Paris couture for fall, and I'm super excited to take some of those trends and adapt them for some new brushes and some new techniques. So stay tuned for that.